Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. It's morning for me here in sunny South Florida. It is not morning over there in the Holy Land, where my good friend Roy Sheinfeld is. He is co founder and CEO of Breez Technology, okay, which is they've produced many things, most notably the Breez wallet, which is one of the first Lightning wallets that there were, by my math, from my memory. And Breeze has been around for 5 years. Roy is an absolute titan and legend of Lightning and one of the smartest people ever that are building with Lightning and the future for where this is going. And he's forecasting it with all of these fun products and services that he's cranking out with Breeze. So, what we're hoping to do today and make up for lost time because we did thankfully invest in Breeze twice now. Both of those investments were through our Node One fund. We were not able to offer a syndicate to our amazing network of backers who participate in funding the next generation of market defining Bitcoin companies, but we were lucky enough to invest in Breeze, and we did not do a video in chat. And as much as I would like to just hang out today and talk about getting lost in the jungles of El Salvador or riding rides at Universal Studios for private parties, we're going to resist all of those fun memories and we're going to do a nice non technical dive into Breeze technology. Welcome, Roy, and how are you today?
I'm great, Mike. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. And I think that I think you'll be definitely missing the crowd will definitely missing our story on getting lost in the El Salvador jungle. That's for sure.
Are you sure this was on TripAdvisor?
And yeah, it's a privilege to be here with the app, like the my most you're the favorite my favorite person in the Lightning ecosystem. So thank you.
He wanted to say his favorite investor, but he had to hold back the tongue because it's okay sometimes for your favorite investor to be your smallest one. All right, cool. So let's dive right in and let's go ahead and just chat first off about Breeze. All right. So for everyone who doesn't know, first off, Breeze Tech, Breeze underscore tech, you should give them a follow here on Twitter. And then my man Roy, the real king only. That's right. And he has a great medium page that is not up here. He's very popular. He produces great articles, long articles of his opinions. He just had one on ordinals that came out not too long ago. And for everyone who uses this awful website, there he is here. So be sure to connect with him there. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the humble beginnings of why you decided to start this company to start, which was really a phone wallet. That was the mobile wallet was the flagship product. So why did you decide to do this?
Yeah, so to answer why we decided to start Breeze, you actually need to start off with the why Bitcoin. So I'm a Bitcoiner since 2013, and I've been following Bitcoin since then. Uh, and in 2018, the beginning of 2018, I decided to dedicate my full time to work on Bitcoin. Yet our goal, our mission was to help Bitcoin do this transformation from a store of value to a medium of exchange. I don't know, Mike, if you recall the early days of 2018, the narrative was very strong about people should use Bitcoin just as a store of value. Bitcoin shouldn't be used as a currency. People should hodl forever. And I didn't like this narrative. I think Bitcoin should be used as a currency. I think Bitcoin should be used as a medium of exchange. And I wanted to do whatever I could together with my two co-founders we wanted to help realize Satoshi's vision of peer-to-peer electronic cash. I think that in order for Bitcoin uh, to to maximize its potential, we need Bitcoin to be used as a currency as well. And I think a good medium of exchange will lead to a better store of value. A better store of value will lead to a better medium of exchange. So we wanted to help Bitcoin do this transformation. And with the emergence of Lightning in the early days of 2018, we saw an opportunity. Finally, we had a viable technical way on executing on that vision of Satoshi. What we wanted to do initially is to help non-tech savvy users to use Lightning in a non-custodial fashion. And that's why we created the Breez app. By the way, I don't use the term wallet. I think I'm giving up on that battle, but I think wallet is a technical term. So I like to use the term app. So we created a Lightning app that allows you to send and receive Lightning payments in a non-custodial fashion and obfuscate all the complexities of the Lightning implementation from the end users. So we created this notion of an LSP, a Lightning Service Providers that plugs the users to the network similarly to the way ISPs plug the users to the internet. So very similarly, if you have a router at your home and you just plug the cord of the router to a socket at your home and you're magically connected to the internet, we wanted to bring the same notion to the Lightning world. And we created this entity we call an LSP, Lightning Service Providers, that magically provides an end users with all the infrastructure they need in order to interact with the Lightning Network. So Breez is a mobile first initiative. We wanted to onboard the normies. So we thought mobile, that's the right vehicle to go about it. We took like LND, the Lightning implementation from Lightning Labs, and we brought it to mobile devices. We created this notion of an LS. We worked a lot on the infrastructure level to implement features like on-the-fly channel creation and zero confirmation channels and zero channel reserve. I don't want to get too technical, but we try to make the user interface as seamless as possible for regular users to use non-custodial Lightning. And I think we did a decent job creating this second generation wallet like Breez and Phoenix. We brought it to market and they became popular solutions. And we demonstrated that you can scale Lightning in a non-custodial fashion and bring it to, and users can adopt Lightning in a non-custodial manner. That was our goal, and that's why we created Breez.
Okay, you said a lot there. You went a little fast, but let's just let's talk about. And I love what you said. I like removing the word wallet. You're 100% right on that. Okay, they're all apps, and apps are the key to adoption, which is something
Uh,
that Roy has been championing for a long time. Is that apps are the key to adoption? So I just want to bring everyone up to speed or just chat a little bit about the Breez wallet. Now, the Breez wallet has it's advanced miles and miles from the very early days. So if you have a memory of a Breez wallet from many years ago, you may want to download it again and give it a shot. There were all sorts of challenges that you had, things like updating the graph, and there were a lot of challenges because it's a non-custodial wallet. And those are some of the trade-offs. But I don't feel like the Breez wallet really gets the credit that it deserves. There were a lot of things there that were firsts and people don't really necessarily realize, or maybe they take for granted now. Like, first off, the podcasting. The podcasting is huge. Now, of course, there's Fountain, there's other businesses that revolve around this and value for value, but there was no value for value back then. Not only that, but there's a very clever and very simple point of sale that would be very useful. You could put some of your most sold items in there. We're not talking about a huge back end with inventory management and everything else, but it certainly works and is very easy for any shop owner, merchant to just have that on their iPad or phone and easily train their staff on accepting payments. Okay, that's in the Breeze app by default. Okay, and then there's a nice little list of some Lightning or Bitcoin services that you may or may not be familiar with that Roy has put in there. A lot of cool things that you may find out about. Maybe you never heard of LNCal and you want to check that out. Maybe you don't know about Azteco, which the Breeze wallet actually scans and redeems both on chain and Lightning Azteco vouchers, which not every wallet does. Okay. So I really like that as well. So the Breeze app has come so far, and don't hold back here, but how difficult is it to be profitable as a, for lack of a better words, mobile wallet? It has to be a challenge. I just want to hear from you personally on how tough it is actually.
Uh, yeah. So just before I answer this question, I'll be a politician for a second. Before I answer this question, I want to uh, comment on the history that you gave on the Breeze app. And you talked about credit and like we're being the one of the first solutions to support the podcasting 2.0, etc. You're right. But I don't care about credit. What we actually use the Breeze app as a sandbox. We use the Breeze app as a sandbox to do two. One is to improve the non-custodial Lightning infrastructure for mobile users. So all the concept that I talked about, creating channels on the fly, or supporting a zero confirmation channel, or a lot of the technical, introducing LSPs, all the technical concept that we brought to market, we use the Breeze app as our testing ground, as a sandbox for piloting these new UX concepts. But we also, as you rightfully mentioned, we also use the Breeze as a sandbox to see if there's value for a peer-to-peer economy. So the experiences that we've pushed into the Breeze app, like the point of sale solution that allows merchant to accept Lightning payments without a need for a bank account, or the podcast player that allowed users to stream sats to their favorite content creators. These are all experiments that we brought to market in order to check and to validate if there's value in Lightning, if there's value in peer-to-peer economy. And we've learned a lot by bringing this solution to market and interacting with the market and to test these experiences. We'll talk about the Breez SDK later, maybe, but our focus on the Breez SDK and my understanding that the key to a Bitcoin adoption is by integrating Lightning into new and existing apps come from these experiments. Because whenever we've done something on the technical infrastructure, it didn't move the needle at all in terms of user adoption. But whenever we added a new interface to the Breeze app, a new experience to the Breeze app, whether it was the apps, the marketplace, or whether it was the point of sale solution, or whether it was the podcast player, we grew in the number of users, the number of transactions, and the throughput that the application processed. So I have no doubt right now that applications are the key to Lightning adoption. Users, generally speaking, people don't care about Bitcoin. Like people don't care about Lightning. Like it's sad, and they don't care about the sovereignty or all the not your keys, not your Bitcoin, all the concept that we're discussing in the Twitter Bitcoin echo chamber. They care about experience and they care about value. And what I think that peer-to-peer transactions bring value to end users. And we were able to demonstrate that with the podcast player, and we were able to demonstrate that with our point of sale solution. Uh, Now, after this great intro, I want to answer your question about being profitable and generating revenue from a wallet. Luckily enough, and I think were blessed in a sense that Lightning encompass a business model. Lightning encompass like Bitcoin, by the way, like the chain, like layer one. There's an inherent business model that is built into Lightning and into layer two. And the business model is called Lightning fees. So Breeze, by providing an LSD service, by connecting users to the Lightning network, we charge a Lightning fee whenever there's a Lightning transaction that is being processed through our LSD service. That means that the business model is very straightforward. The more Lightning transactions you process, the more profitable you are. We were able to get into a point right now that where we are doing something around 200, 250K of transactions amount. And the average fee that we charge is 0.1%. So you can run, you don't know uh, how many Bitcoins we process, but we process quite a lot. And you can infer the revenue that we generate from the Breeze app by applying these metrics. So no, we're not profitable. Our goal but we are generating revenue. Our goal is to augment that. Our goal is to augment the usage of Lightning and to get to several order of magnitudes, at least two order of magnitudes more than we're doing right now. And I believe the key to achieve that is by going out of the Bitcoin Lightning ecosystem and starting to compete in the larger market. I would say a bad word now in the crypto market, and to try and attract mainstream crypto users and mainstream mobile users by allowing developers to integrate Lightning into their own applications.
Okay, so I'm sure that we could talk for hours here, and we didn't even get into the SDK and the cloud and the other stuff. But one more thing about the wallet. Now, just as an investor, but also as an observer for years since you started, it doesn't seem like you have the marketing push and the big download Breeze, use Breeze. There isn't a lot of that. There isn't a lot of referral bonuses and tables at the conferences. Download Breeze, use Breeze. Breeze is the best mobile app or wallet or whatever people are saying, as opposed to other more recently popular mobile wallets that are really pushing. They're pushing for
Mhm.
downloads, pushing for users. They're posting their metrics all the time. And I know that kind of under the tent and behind the curtain, you are really focusing on the SDK and the other products and
Yeah.
services that Breeze has coming down the line. And we don't have to get into green light and all the technical advances and things that
Well,
that
it's
allows.
it's part of the story. The technology, the underlying technology, improving the underlying technology is part of the story for us. I implicitly answered this question by saying that we use the app as a sandbox. We don't want to be a B2C company. I don't believe in wall in general. I don't believe we need to buy Lightning users. I don't believe they should use Lightning as a standalone separate application as a wallet. That's not our play. We had, we were forced to release an app to consumers because we wanted to build the technical infrastructure that will allow us i- to build our SDK. And I think the entire market is in a position that everyone is looking for a product market fit, and we're part of this search. The Lightning is looking for a product market fit. And I think the key to find the product market fit is not by doing a standalone app. I'm, by the way, I think it's the same as Noster, for example. Uh, I think it's the wrong play to start and generate network effect and start to attract user to a separate standalone technology. I see Lightning, I see Noster as well as technologies that can integrate into existing solutions. So that's the avenue I'm pursuing. I'm trying, and we're trying at Breez to push Lightning into where users already are, and not try and convert users from existing solutions to yet another new tech. That's my mindset. And that's why you haven't seen us pushing people to adopt the Breez wallet. And we didn't buy users, and we didn't buy downloads, and we didn't did the raffles or prizes for people using Lightning. I think that's the wrong way to go about Lightning. I don't think that's the right play. I think the right play is to take the Lightning technology to integrate it into existing solutions instead of trying to create yet another wallet, yet another app, yet another client.
Okay, final words on the wallet. Besides, to anyone who may be listening, if you don't have the Breeze wallet or haven't used it in years, please download it and have some fun with it. That's number one. But do the fees for the Breeze app compete and compare with a lot of the other fees that are out there in terms of Wallet of Satoshi or some of these others? Are they slightly better or are they basically the same? And by the way, when you're using a phone app, and I probably have 9 phone apps that you play around with, I'm sure you have 9 Bitcoin apps on your phone as well that you play around with. The fees aren't always necessarily transparent. Sometimes it's nominal for Lightning stuff. You don't really think about it, but sometimes it's not. Like an on-chain transaction through Wallet of Satoshi, depending on what you're doing, can be pretty meaningful, actually. Are the fees with Breeze roughly the same?
So unlike custodial solutions, we charge a fee when there's lack of inbound liquidity. So when you need to open a channel, we charge a fee because that's the difference. That's the difference in the model between custodial and non-custodial solutions. But roughly, when it comes to on-chain transactions, for example, sometimes our fees are better than Wallet of Satoshi. Wallet of Satoshi, if I remember correctly, they take 0.3% on every on-chain transactions. On every on-chain transaction, our on-chain transaction can sometimes be free if you have enough inbound liquidity. So you've mentioned the implicit fees that you see in various wallets. The good thing about Breeze is that we're very transparent and explicit with our fees. So you, when you're shown when a Bitcoin address is displayed or Lightning invoice is displayed, you're gonna see exactly what the fee is going to be. And so you can compare and you can use custodial. So if you are okay with using custodial solution, use a custodial solution.
All right, so
Uh,
let's chat about the SDK now. What is an SDK? Okay. Is it a way for developers, okay, to easily integrate Lightning payments, all right, into their apps? Is that a drag and drop type of solution coming from the guy who can't build anything? And this is really where your focus is. Before we get too deep into it, do you want to talk about why you decided to go more in this direction with Breeze technology?
yeah, definitely. So what we've seen with our point of sale solution and our podcast player, every time we've added a new app, a new experience to Breeze, we grew by 10x in the number of users, the number of transactions. So we came to a very simple realization that applications are the key for adoption. We had to decide whether Breeze would be like a Swiss Army knife, where we keep adding new experience to Breeze, and Breeze will be like the jack of all trade, or we could actually expose the Breez infrastructure as an SDK, as a software developer kit, and allow us and other developers to build applications on top of the Breez SDK. Because what I don't think our user experience is optimal right now. I think if we were serious about our point of sale solution, we need to spin off the point of sale into a separate app. Same goes for the podcast player. Like if we were serious about our podcasting player, about our podcast player, about the podcasting solution, we need to spin off the podcast player to a separate app and build a podcast app, build a Square like merchant app. And in order to do that, we needed an infrastructure that allows you to have multiple apps using non-custodial Lightning, and even allow all these apps to interact with the same balance, with the same Satoshis. And that's why we've decided to build the Breez SDK. It's really enable us to spin off the internal application to separate apps, and and more importantly, it will allow any developer and any vendors that want to integrate Lightning payments into their own solutions to just use the Breez SDK. So luckily, Mike, you can use the Breez SDK as well, even without the coding knowledge, because everyone is coding, definitely my team, everyone is coding using ChatGPT. But seriously, it's a few lines of code. The barrier of entry is very low for any developer to just use the Breez SDK and integrate Lightning payments into their apps. The Breez SDK is built on top of the Greenlight infrastructure. The Greenlight infrastructure is a cloud environment from Blockstream that allows you to run a Lightning node in the cloud while keeping the keys in your control. So it's a hybrid model where the keys to the Lightning node always reside on the Breez SDK, meaning inside the mobile device, but the node is running in the cloud. That means that multiple applications and multiple devices can access the same node. And I think this user experience where you can interact with the same node from multiple devices and multiple applications really gets Lightning to be on par with what the Fiat solutions has to offer. So I'm very excited about delivering that to market. I think the fragmented user experience that we have now, where you have some Satoshis in Stacker News and some Satoshis in Fountain, you have some Satoshis at Breez and some Satoshis at Phoenix, that's really, this jointed experience is really damaging for Lightning. It really makes it challenging for regular applications to integrate Lightning into their solutions.
Well, yeah, not only that, that fragmented, that's going to lead to a lot of more lost Bitcoin, in my opinion. Okay, so the nitty gritty on the SDK. Now, how does Breez monetize the SDK? Does it cost money to use it? Is it a percentage of a fee? Or how closely do you work with those partners who express inbound interest in wanting to use the Breez SDK to build? Are you hand-holding them through this process? Is it, here's the GitHub, here you go, do your thing, let me know if you have problems? How does that process look?
Great questions. So let's touch on the business model, and then we'll talk about the design partner process. So when it comes to the business model, we're just augmenting. The magic of the Breez SDK is that we're just replicating and augmenting the same model of the Breez app. So it's a B2B2C model where we monetize Lightning transactions. So developers don't need to pay anything in order to use our SDK. It's the end user that pays Lightning fees when they execute Lightning transactions. So if you think about the Breez SDK, there are 4 pillars to the Breez SDK. It takes care, it's an holistic a one-stop shop drop-in solution for all your Lightning needs. So Lightning for the non-technical users, it's all like a big blur or like just a black box of tech. But there's a lot of components that are required if you need to build your own Lightning solution. And there's a good reason there's only non-custodial Lightning apps out there. That's because doing non-custodial payments is very difficult. And we provide our infrastructure, our non-custodial Lightning infrastructure as a service for developers. And so developers don't need to know about the underlying tech. They just need to use our code in order to facilitate the Lightning payments. Under the hood, behind the scenes, there are four pillars, four services that we provide. Major services. There are a lot of services that include LNURL and fiat currency, but the four major services are end user nodes. We provide the end user node infrastructure. We provide the liquidity, the LSV services. We provide the swap services, on-chain, off-chain interoperability, meaning you can on-ramp and off-ramp from layer one, from the chain. And we provide via third parties, we provide on-ramps and off-ramps. And you get all this as a holistic solution when you use the Breez SDK. We monetize the Breez SDK in the same manner we monetize the Breez app. Every Lightning transaction is translated to a revenue on our end by charging a Lightning fee. So the more developers we have integrating our solutions, the more users we have, the more throughput we process, the more revenue we generate. Now to your second question about the design partner process. Yes, we are currently handholding our design partners. Firstly, because we want to validate the product, we want to validate the solution, we want to make sure we have the right solution, and we want their feedback in order to optimize and improve our solution. And we're doing that right now. Like the SDK isn't stable. If you take a look at our GitHub right now, you'll see a lot of commits, including in the interface. The interface keeps changing based on customer feedback. So that's the stage that we are at. Surprisingly enough, there are some design partners where we just give them access to the SDK, and they're coming back to you with a fully featured solution without even discussing with them. It happens, but we seek interaction right now. So the way it typically works is that if there's a design partner that is interested in integrating the Breez SDK, we open a mutual Slack Connect channels. We bring our team, they bring their developers, and we collaborate on any issues that arise or any feedback that they have on the Breez SDK. 2 hours, a few days, or a few weeks to integrate the Breez SDK, depending on the level of the developers and depending on the maturity of our queries. So in some cases, specifically when it comes to programming language binding, some languages are being used more frequently used than others. For example, most of the developers are using React Native, but we had some cases recently where C# developers want to use the Breez SDK. And in that cases, it's not the Breez SDK is not as battle tested as the React Native one. So it depends, but it's dramatically cheaper, easier, seamless to integrate the Breez SDK than like other solutions.
So this is mainly what I wanted to try and put on some of our people's radars are use cases. Now, this is from a PDF that I hope you don't mind me sharing. I've had it for a little while now, but now I don't think it's a secret what you're up to. But
No,
so this is not on your website, okay, as far as use cases. And I love Roy, all right, and I love Breez, and we can only do so much, right? We're little guys. The easy layups are, hey, here's DCA exchange in XYZ country. They're on chain only. We're in a high fee environment, so there's even more incentive to add Lightning, but maybe they've been putting it off for years. Or all Bitcoin companies right now. Okay, so you don't need to explain to a Bitcoin company why they need to add Lightning. They just need
Mhm.
to do it. But as far as other use cases outside of Bitcoin, and you're also always using the word apps here. Does this work outside of an app? Is it a browser extension? Is it an online checkout system, something like a Poshmark or an eBay? Are they potential customers of the future, even though it's not app based? And then if you could talk about a few of the use cases outside of the companies we all know and love, right? Where are the big elephants, the big opportunities that you see in the future?
Yeah. So we asked a lot of questions. Let's try to let's try to get to them one by one. So yes, definitely the low hanging fruit right now is for Bitcoin companies and vendors that already offer Bitcoin on-chain services and they want to add Lightning capabilities. They can do that using the Breez SDK. By the way, not just Bitcoin companies, but also crypto companies. There are crypto wallets out there that already support Bitcoin, and we want to enable them to use Lightning, and they can do that using the Breez SDK. So the Breez SDK is best fit when there's a need for a non-custodial solution. We can talk about the advantages and the benefits of a non-custodial solution, but mainly it's no KYC, no AML, no money license transmitter, no transmitter license that you need to have in order to build a solution that transfer value from one end to another. All of these use cases can be augmented and supported using the Breeze and definitely a lot of our design partners are companies and vendors that already support Bitcoin on-chain and want to add Lightning capabilities. It can be Bitcoin brokers, it can be Bitcoin exchanges, it can be wallets, mobile wallets, hardware wallets, etc. Now you asked about apps. The Breeze SDK is agnostic to the notion of an app. The Breeze SDK can run as part of a mobile application, but you can use the Breeze SDK also in a server environment, or you can use the Breeze SDK in a desktop environment. But what I want to emphasize is the Breeze SDK represents one node. So when you use the Breeze SDK as a user, you run a Lightning node. So it's not meant to to create a solution like LNB or Wallet of Satoshi, where you have multiple users using the same node. But any app, a web app is also an app. Any app, server-side app that wants to accept and send Lightning payments can do so using the Breeze SDK. The value proposition, the real differentiator of the Breeze SDK is not when you need a single node, is when you want to provide your customers an access to a Lightning node. So if you want, the reason this PDF and the use cases that we're focused on are focused on mobile applications because mobile applications are a very nice vehicle to allow your users to participate in the Lightning Network. It's hard to do. It's harder to do using a Chrome extension, although it's feasible. And we see with Mutiny, for example, that it is also feasible to do using a WebAssembly, using a client-side technology in the web browser. And this is something we're looking to support, but it's not yet supported in the Breeze SDK. So the reason we're focused on mobile use cases is because that's the real differentiation of the Breeze SDK. It's because we allow to onboard the B2C part of the B2C business. We allow businesses to onboard their customers to Lightning Network. very easily.
So when you think about the largest companies, Fortune 500 companies, things like Uber, TikTok, these type of monsters, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe Netflix, eventually they will all integrate Bitcoin. Okay.
Uh,
And
yes.
I can't see something like Netflix starting with just on chain, or maybe something like a Bank of America when they do finally dip their toe in. Where are they going to start? How could an Uber possibly, which by the way, it's like a no brainer for a ride sharing app to run on Lightning. But how do you see it when you're in the shower or in bed late at night thinking about the future? How do you see some of these unfolding? And when you're doing your sales, are you looking globally? Maybe a super app in Latin America that wants to add Bitcoin, their DoorDash down there, their those type of things. Are you all
I
over?
I love the marketplace. I call them the marketplace use cases. So I think TikTok is my wet dream. If you're asking me what I'm dreaming at night, I'm dreaming on the future of a peer-to-peer economy, and the best manifestation of a peer-to-peer economy is an application like TikTok, where users can send payments to other. One TikToker can send a payment to another TikToker globally, without borders, without AML, without KYC. That's my dream. So all these marketplaces that bring users together, and you can monetize the relationship between the participant of the app. That's my dream use case. So you have that with Uber, you have that with TikTok, you have that you slightly less have that in Netflix. Netflix isn't really a marketplace; it's more of a vendor that's trying to monetize its own services. So I think the peer-to-peer economy, the embodiment of the peer-to-peer economy, really comes to life in these marketplaces use cases. So I love these use cases, and that's the holy grail. And in order to get to the holy grail, we need to cross the chasm. And the chasm is by starting with implementing peer-to-peer technologies in the Bitcoin space, in the crypto space, and in new emerging mainstream applications. So so we talked about some of the Bitcoin use cases like wallets, like brokers. I think we have the same use cases when it comes to crypto. When it comes to mainstream applications, I think social networks and other applications are low hanging fruits. We see games. We see a lot of interest from game developers to integrate Lightning payments because it's also a marketplace of gamers and these games. And we see content curation apps. So there are apps that wants to have user generated content around video, around audiobooks, around music, and all these use cases fits very naturally into the peer-to-peer economy. And you can support these use cases using the Breez SDK.
Okay. The easy layups, and many of them are companies that we invested in. I don't understand what the holdup is or what their excuses are, but things like Amber in Australia, that's probably the most popular Australian exchange, Bitcoin only, no Lightning. What's the holdup? Swan Bitcoin, everyone loves them. I'm a customer. I buy every day. Love Swan. We invested 3 times. No Lightning. Beaver Bitcoin in Canada, relatively new Bitcoin exchange, DCA app, doing incredible. Same deal, right? On chain only. Relay in Switzerland. Julian, love him. Forbes, 30 under 30. He's such a great guy. I say kid because you and I, Roy, we're old. Relay's a monster. They're doing incredibly well out there. No
Relay are
Lightning.
amazing. Relays are amazing. And I think all the names that you've mentioned will support Lightning.
Hodl for crying hodl. Come on. Roy, I got
Uh,
Roy Sheinfeld right here with the drag and drop tool. Easy, can't be any easier. What's the excuses here?
that's our job. Our job is not is to not give these companies and vendor excuses to not supporting Lightning. That's on us. We're talking with some of the companies that you've mentioned, and I think we'll see them starting to support Lightning soon. I'm not sure all of them will use the Breez SDK, but the Breez SDK has one clear advantage over other solutions. But if you're going to use the Breez SDK, it will be interoperable with all the other apps that are using the Breez SDK. Meaning, uh, if you have a broker app and the app to accept a DCA from a specific broker, then you'll be able to use the same node in order to send payment through the Breeze wallet. Or you'll be able to charge your EV, your electric car using Satimoto. Or you'll be able to work with the Green wallet from Blockstream. All these apps will be interoperable. So that's the future we want to build. And I'm sure we need to differentiate between brokers and exchanges, by the way. Brokers, non-custodial solutions that want to transfer the funds to the custody of the end users are a classic fit for the Breeze SDK. Exchanges want to retain custody. Well, I don't know, most likely want to retain custody over user funds might not be the ideal fit because then all they need to do is just provide an account access and provide Lightning capabilities in the exchange. But if they're not interested in relinquishing custody, then they don't have to use the Breeze SDK. The Breeze SDK comes to play when they want to give users the custody over their funds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And we're hitting an hour here, and I've been told by our magic producers that I should keep these things shorter. I do have one more thing to chat about, and that is the competition. And not all SDKs are created equal. As you said there, maybe some competitive advantages to working with yourself versus some of the others that are out there. What are the main differences? Are there many main differences? Not to trash talk or bring anyone else that might be in this space down, but how do you see the whole landscape of competitors and people who are also trying to do what you're doing right now?
First, it's great that there is a competition. It means that there's a market, which is great. I think you can. We have two types of competitors. One type is custodial solutions. So you, for example, you can use Strike or River or Zebedee. You can use their API in order to facilitate Lightning payments. So that's one type of competition. You of course rely on a custodial solution, and you of course rely on a proprietary vendor to facilitate facilitate your transactions, and your need to to restrict yourselves to the territories and to the regulatory landscape that the third party solution supports. I'm not sure what's the state in New York right now, but so most custodial solutions don't even work in New York, for example. Or Strike, for example, supports, I think, the global south, but they don't support Western Europe yet, or Eastern Europe at all, or Asia. So you need, when you choose a custodial solution, first you need to choose your vendor well, and you need to understand that you're locking yourself to a specific vendor. And you need to understand that you rely on a custodial solution that this vendor provide, meaning there are KYC, AML restriction that you need to be aware of when you're choosing a third party solution. Uh, Now, when it comes to non custodial solutions, you can either use the Breez SDK, or you can use or you can use other open source software like LDK, which is a great end user node software. But then you need to compile the entire stack yourself, meaning you need to use LDK. You need to understand how to use LDK. By the way, they're lowering the barrier of entry in that regard, which is great as well. But you need to have an LSP solution. You need to have a swap solution. So I would say the barrier of entry of creating an holistic solution using LDK, it's still pretty high. With the Breez SDK, you get a one-stop shop for all your Lightning needs without thinking about nodes, keys, swap services, fiat on-ramps. You get everything. Everything is bundled and readily accessible for you. There's another non-custodial competitor, which I don't even know if it's non-custodial. They claim it's non-custodial, but it's hard to know, which is Lightspark, the company from Dave Marcus. They released an SDK to the market, which they say, it's non-custodial, but it's not an open source solution, so it's hard to know what they're doing under the hood. In Breez, and I think you need to understand our DNA. Breez is a Bitcoin company in a sense that everything that we do is very transparent. Everything that we do is open source, and we're not vendor locking you to Breez, meaning you can use the Breez SDK without using the Breez services. So you can use the Breez SDK and not use our LST service or not use our swap service. We don't vendor lock you to Breez. It means you're always, as a developer, you're always in control over your app, no matter what. And you're not dependent on a single vendor. And by the way, everything we're doing is in order to promote decentralization and a free market, meaning we provide an LST service in the Breez SDK. We do it in an open standard that we help promoted. That means that you'll be able to replace the Breez LST service with another LST service coming from TBD or coming from Synonym. Everything is we allow you the freedom of choice when it comes to the Breez SDK. The Breez SDK is just an open source code that by default uses the Breez LST services and swap services.
All right. Awesome. All right. So we're over an hour, and let's wrap it up with your travel schedule. Where are you going to be on the second half of the year? Are you going to El Salvador again in November? Will you be at Baltic
Are
Honey
you?
Packer?
Are
Am
you doing
I?
El Salvador?
It's
Yeah.
easier for me coming from Miami. That's a real easy trip
Yeah.
for me. And I'll probably FOMO in at the last minute. It was just really great last year.
Yeah, it
Last
was amazing. I'll definitely do the Honey Badger. I'll be in Riga in September. I'll do Nashville mid-September. And I'm not
What is
sure
in
about the rest of it.
Nashville? What is in Nashville mid-September?
I'm going to the Bitcoin Park in September,
For what purpose?
meeting, like talking Lightning and meet with the people from the Bitcoin Park.
Oh, so they're doing like an event.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Riga, that's going to be great. Bitcoin Park. I can't believe you're coming all the way here to the US.
Not the
Was that
first
there?
time, Mike.
I know, but that's a hike. That's a hike. Okay. And then Amsterdam, maybe Bitcoin Amsterdam?
Mm,
No,
I don't
not
think so.
not this
No,
time.
maybe we'll send people from Breez, but I'm not going to be in Amsterdam. I'm still thinking about adopting Bitcoin, but as you said, like it's a challenge commuting from Israel.
Yeah, I hope we can do that again in adopting this year. All right, cool. You heard it here from my man, the real Roy King, and
The real
just
king only.
the
The real king only. It's a king only. It's a song by the Twilight Singers with a band which I like. Everyone is
okay.
laughing. Everyone is stuck with their handle that they came up with when they were 16. That's where the king only comes from.
Okay. That's good to know. I also want to know why Breeze doesn't have an E on the end of it.
SEO, that's easy. Like you need to nice. And shout out to Sam, who's been amazing helping us with the Breeze merch. So yeah, Breeze is spelled uniquely in order to differentiate us with the regular, normal English word. Or
All right. And if you haven't read Roy's writings here on Medium, his last one is about a month old, and he chimed in on his opinion on ordinals and all of that fun stuff. But there's a ton in here to go through, and it's been great to watch it develop over the years. So, anyway, Roy, thanks for hanging out and all that good stuff. And if you're building on Lightning, reach out to Roy as breeze.technology to get you started with whatever you're doing. And we will keep you posted on his progress. He closed a nice big round about half a year ago that he announced with a nice big press release. Got some all-star investors in there. We're lucky to participate. And I'm glad that we finally got something in our archives, Roy. So thanks for hanging out.
thank you for having me, Mike. I'm very excited about the progress. Like there's always fun about Lightning, but I think that if someone is watching closely and seeing the development of the ecosystem, they see the huge progress that we were able to make in the past couple of years. And I think we're the different place, different stage where we were when we were last year. I'm very excited about the development at Breeze. I'm very excited to see the first solutions that are building on top of the Breeze SDK coming out to the market. And I'm super excited to see what you all think about that.
All right. And if you're looking to add Lightning, okay, there's no excuses here, especially if you're one of our portfolio companies. What are you waiting for? Or even if you're not one of our portfolio companies, things like Lolly. Why doesn't Lolly have Lightning? You can call Roy Sheinfeld. His number's below. All right, Roy, we'll talk to you again.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Bye, buddy.